Welcome to True Relationship Tales. Please like this video and subscribe to True Relationship Tales. We're grateful for each and every one of you. Let us know where in the world you tuning in from. We'd love to hear from you in the comments. Let's begin. The sun cast a golden glow over the dining table where Alex and Lyla sat, sharing their usual weekend breakfast. To anyone looking in from the outside, they appeared like the perfect couple content, comfortable and deeply connected. But Alex knew better. He had noticed the changes in Lyla subtle at first. The way she spent longer getting ready for work, the increasing number of late nights, the guarded smile that no longer reached her eyes. And for months, he had pushed the thoughts aside, chalking them up to stress or the natural ebb and flow of a long marriage. But now, sitting across from her as she scrolled absent-mindedly through her phone, Alex felt the distance between them like a chasm. "Hey," he said softly, trying to catch her attention. She looked up, startled, as if she had forgotten he was there. "You've been distracted lately," Alex said, forcing a smile. Everything hesitated, her fingers hovering over the edge of her coffee cup. "Yeah, of course. Work's just been a lot." Alex nodded, pretending to accept her answer, but the nagging feeling in his chest refused to be silenced. That evening, Alex suggested dinner at their favorite Italian restaurant. He hoped that some time away from their routine might rekindle the spark that seemed to be fading. Lyla agreed, though her enthusiasm felt forced. As they sat in the warm, cozy ambience of the restaurant, Alex noticed her fidgeting. She kept glancing around the room, her fingers nervously twisting the edge of her napkin. Finally, she spoke. "I've been thinking," she began, her voice measured but shaky. He set down his glass of wine, his heart tightening at her tone. "What's on your mind?" Lyla hesitated, then took a deep breath. "Maybe we need to try something different, to bring back the spark." Alex blinked, thrown off by her words. "Different? What do you mean?" She shifted uncomfortably, avoiding his gaze, like giving each other a little freedom. Just one night. No strings, no judgment. A chance to, explore. The air seemed to leave the room. Alex stared at her, struggling to process what he had just heard. "You want a free pass." "It's not like that," Lyla said quickly, her voice rising defensively. "It's not about not loving you. It's just a little fun. A way to feel alive again." Alive, the word cut through Alex like a knife. Wasn't there life enough for her? Hadn't he given her everything, his time, his energy, his love? "Lyla," he said quietly, his voice trembling, "if that's really what you want, we'll talk about it later." Her relief was almost palpable. She smiled, reaching for his hand. "Thank you, Alex. I knew you'd understand." But as they left the restaurant, Alex's mind was already racing, formulating the beginnings of a plan. The days following Lyla's shocking suggestion passed in a haze for Alex, while Lyla appeared lighter, almost buoyant, as though the weight of voicing her desires had lifted her spirits. Alex, on the other hand, found himself sinking deeper into despair. Every moment they shared felt hollow, a cruel parody of the life they had once built together. At breakfast, Lyla hummed softly as she spread butter on her toast, her tone cheerful. "I've been thinking," she said, glancing up at Alex. "We should redo the living room, maybe some new furniture, a fresh start." Alex, sipping his coffee, forced a smile. "Sure, whatever you want." But inside, his thoughts churned. A fresh start? Was this how she framed her betrayal? A redecoration to mask the cracks she had placed in their foundation? As the weeks went on, Lyla's demeanor changed. She spent more time in front of the mirror, perfecting her makeup. She laughed more freely, though the sound grated against Alex's ears. It wasn't laughter shared with him, it was something else: anticipation. One evening, she stepped into the bedroom wearing a dress Alex hadn't seen in years. It clung to her figure, accentuating her curves. "How do I look?" she asked, spinning slowly. Alex's throat tightened as he forced a response. "You look stunning." Her smile brightened, and she kissed his cheek before heading to the door. "Just meeting some friends for drinks," she said casually, as the door clicked shut behind her. Alex sat in the silence of their home, staring at the emptiness she left behind. Behind the facade of indifference, Alex was anything but passive. He moved with careful precision, consulting a lawyer to safeguard his finances and preparing for the possibility that their marriage might not survive this betrayal. He began transferring cherished personal items, family heirlooms, important documents to Rick's house. Rick, ever the loyal friend, was a voice of reason and caution. "Are you sure this is what you want to do?" he asked one night as Alex boxed up his belongings. Alex's jaw tightened. "She treated my trust like it was disposable, Rick. I can't let her get away with this." Rick nodded but remained hesitant. "Just don't lose sight of who you are, Alex. Revenge can burn you too." Alex didn't respond. His mind was fixed on the long game. Each step deliberate and methodical. When Lyla announced the night she planned to use her free pass, Alex masked his true feelings behind a calm exterior. "You okay with this?" she asked, her voice hesitant but tinged with excitement. Alex gave a small shrug. "If it's what you need, I won't stand in your way." Lyla's smile was radiant as she kissed him on the cheek before heading out the door. She had no idea that this moment was a turning point not for her freedom, but for Alex's meticulously crafted revenge. The hours stretched endlessly as Alex sat alone in their home, the quiet pressing in on him. He poured himself a drink, the amber liquid swirling in the glass as he stared at the clock. When Lyla finally returned, her makeup was smudged, her hair slightly tousled. She moved quickly past Alex, offering a hurried excuse. "It was just dinner." "Nothing serious," she said over her shoulder. Alex didn't respond. He simply watched her retreat to the bedroom, his silence speaking volumes. The next morning, Lyla was unusually affectionate, kissing Alex's cheek and bringing him coffee in bed. "We should plan a trip together," she said brightly. "Just the two of us." Alex smiled faintly, masking the storm brewing inside him. "Sure, we'll talk about it later." Over the next week, Alex's plan unfolded. He met with mutual acquaintances, subtly planting seeds of doubt about his and Lyla's relationship. He dropped hints about moving forward and finding someone who valued trust. The rumors spread quickly, and Alex knew it was only a matter of time before Lyla heard them. One afternoon, he posted a carefully curated photo on social media, a picture of himself with a colleague, her smile warm and inviting. The caption read, "Grateful for second chances. Trust means everything." The reaction was immediate. Lyla's messages flooded his phone, each one more frantic than the last. When Alex finally agreed to meet Lyla, he chose the same restaurant where she had first suggested the free pass. Lyla arrived looking frail, her face pale from sleepless nights. She sat across from Alex, her hands trembling. "I've made mistakes," she began softly, but Alex's expression remained unreadable. "We can fix this," she added, her voice barely above a whisper. Alex slid an envelope across the table. "What's this?" Lyla asked, her voice shaky. "Open it," Alex said evenly. Her hands trembled as she unfolded the papers inside. Her eyes widened as she read the words separation agreement. "Alex, no," she whispered. "This isn't what I want." Alex's gaze was steady, his tone cold. "You wanted freedom, Lyla. Now you have it." Lyla sat in the bedroom they had shared for years, clutching the separation agreement with trembling hands. The words blurred through her tears as reality sank in. Alex was serious. He wasn't bluffing. He wasn't angry in the way she had expected. His calm demeanor made it all the more devastating. For the first few days, she clung to denial. She called Alex incessantly, leaving voicemail after voicemail. "Alex, please, we need to talk." "This isn't what I wanted." She tried showing up at Rick's apartment, only to be turned away at the door with a firm but sympathetic, "He doesn't want to see you right now, Lyla." The walls of their shared home seemed to close in on her. Every photograph, every piece of furniture carried memories of a life she had taken for granted. The weight of her choices pressed down on her like a physical burden. Alex, meanwhile, was resolute. His silence wasn't born from anger or spite, it was calculated. He wanted Lyla to sit with the consequences of her actions, to truly feel the emptiness her decisions had created. At Rick's apartment, Alex spent his days focusing on rebuilding. He threw himself into work, hit the gym with renewed determination, and reconnected with old friends he had drifted from during his marriage. Each step was a reminder that his life didn't have to revolve around Lyla's betrayal. "You seem lighter," Rick observed one evening as they shared a drink on the balcony. Alex nodded, staring out at the city lights. For the first time in months, he felt like he was in control again. It was freeing. Rick smiled faintly. "Just don't let her pull you back in. You've come too far to let her drag you down." "She won't," Alex said firmly. "I've made my decision." Weeks passed, and Lyla's desperation only grew. She sent Alex long messages, alternating between pleas for forgiveness and angry accusations. You're being so cruel, Alex. I made one mistake, and you're throwing everything away. Alex read each message but never replied. Lyla's carefully constructed facade began to crumble. At work, she struggled to focus, her thoughts consumed by regret and self-loathing. Friends started to notice her erratic behavior, canceling plans at the last minute, breaking down in tears over trivial matters. "Are you okay?" one colleague asked cautiously during lunch. Lyla forced a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Yeah, just a lot going on at home." But it wasn't just at work. Lyla's once vibrant social life dwindled as whispers of Alex's supposed new relationship spread through their mutual friends. One evening, scrolling mindlessly through her phone, Lyla came across Alex's social media post. The image of him with another woman, a warm, confident smile on his face, was a dagger to her heart. The caption read, "Grateful for second chances. Trust and loyalty mean everything." Her heart raced as she stared at the photo, her mind spiraling with questions. Was it real? Had he truly moved on so quickly? Without thinking, she dialed his number. To her surprise, he picked up. "Alex," she began, her voice trembling. "Is it true? Are you seeing someone else?" There was a long pause on the other end before Alex spoke, his tone calm, almost detached. "What does it matter, Lyla? You were the one who wanted freedom." "That's not fair," she cried. "I didn't mean it like that. I thought we could work through this. I didn't think you'd replace me." Alex's response was firm. "I didn't replace you, Lyla. You replaced us the moment you decided we weren't enough for you." The call ended, leaving Lyla in a flood of tears. When Alex finally agreed to meet her for dinner, Lyla was a shell of the woman she had once been. She arrived at the Italian restaurant looking frail, her makeup unable to hide the sleepless nights etched on her face. Alex, on the other hand, looked composed. His tailored suit and confident demeanor made him seem like a man who had already moved on. Lyla fidgeted with her napkin as they sat across from each other, the silence between them thick with tension. "Thank you for meeting me," she said softly. Alex nodded but didn't respond. "I know I've hurt you," Lyla continued, her voice trembling. I thought I needed something more. But I see now that it was a mistake. I don't need freedom, Alex. I need you." Alex leaned back in his chair, his expression unreadable. "Do you know what I needed, Lyla?" he asked. "I needed loyalty. I needed a partner who respected the life we built together. But you decided that wasn't enough." Tears welled in Lyla's eyes. "I was wrong. I know that now. Please, Alex, just give me one more chance. I'll do whatever it takes to fix this." Alex reached into his pocket and pulled out an envelope, sliding it across the table. "What's this?" Lyla asked, her hands trembling as she opened it. "Consider my answer," Alex said calmly. Her eyes widened as she read the legal document inside. "You're divorcing me." "You wanted freedom," Alex said, his voice steady now. "Now you have it." Lyla broke down, her sobs echoing in the restaurant. But Alex stood, adjusting his jacket with a finality that left no room for argument. "This is your free pass," he said quietly. "A free pass to move on without me." With that, he walked away, leaving her alone to face the consequences of her choices. For Alex, the weeks that followed were transformative. He finalized the sale of their home, signed the divorce papers, and closed the chapter on his life with Lyla. He poured his energy into rebuilding, taking on new projects at work, traveling to places he had always dreamed of, and exploring hobbies he had long neglected. Slowly but surely, the weight of betrayal lifted, replaced by a newfound sense of freedom and self-worth. The days following the confrontation were heavy with silence, a silence that suffocated everything around it. Lyla's once vibrant energy had drained, leaving her hollow, a shadow of the woman Alex once knew. Desperation twisted in her chest as she tried to reach him, as she struggled to understand how it had all gone so wrong. Her texts to Alex became frantic, alternating between pleading for forgiveness and accusing him of being cruel. She sent messages late at night, long rants full of regret, but Alex never responded. The silence between them spoke volumes, each passing hour making the void between them even more unbearable. At work, Lyla was a shell of herself. Her mind was consumed by guilt, her thoughts spiraling into an endless loop of what-ifs. She couldn't focus on anything. Her once sharp mind now felt foggy. Her colleagues noticed the change, the way she struggled to keep it together, the way her laughter no longer reached her eyes. One afternoon, as she sat at her desk, Lyla's eyes fell on Alex's latest social media post. A photo of him with another woman. The caption, "Grateful for second chances. Trust and loyalty mean everything." Her heart dropped into her stomach. It felt like a dagger to the chest. She stared at the image, unable to comprehend what she was seeing. Could he have really moved on this quickly? Was it real? Was this just part of his plan to hurt her, or had he truly replaced her? In a haze of emotion, she dialed his number, her hands trembling as the phone rang. "Alex, is it true? Are you seeing someone else?" There was a long pause on the other end of the line. When Alex finally spoke, his tone was calm, almost detached. "Alex, what does it matter, Lyla? You were the one who wanted freedom." "Lyla, that's not fair," she cried. "I didn't mean it like that. I thought we could work through this." Alex firmly, "I didn't replace you, Lyla. You replaced us the moment you decided we weren't enough for you." The call ended, leaving Lyla drowning in her own tears. Alex's words echoed in her mind, each one a painful reminder of how deeply she had hurt him. Lyla had broken the one thing that mattered most: trust. And now, as Alex moved on with quiet precision, her world was crumbling. Every decision she made was clouded by the weight of regret, every moment spent in denial. She had no idea just how far Alex's plan had already come, and yet, as the days stretched on, she could still feel a part of her reaching out to him. But Alex was no longer the man she had married. The weeks that followed were transformative for Alex. He had made peace with his decision. While Lyla's life seemed to spiral out of control, his own was on the rise. He threw himself into work, rediscovered his love for traveling, and reconnected with friends who had faded from his life during the marriage. Each step was a reminder that his life didn't have to revolve around her betrayal. But even as Alex found his new freedom, Lyla remained trapped in the prison of her own guilt. The desperate messages continued, but Alex remained firm in his silence. He refused to let her pull him back in. "Rick observing one evening, you seem lighter, man. Like you found yourself again." Alex nodding, staring at the city lights for the first time in months. "I feel like I'm in control again. It's freeing." But Lyla didn't feel free. Her once strong facade was crumbling. Her friends noticed the change. She canceled plans, withdrew from social gatherings, and began crying at the smallest things. It wasn't just work that suffered, her entire life seemed to unravel. And when she heard the whispers of Alex's supposed new relationship, her world came crashing down. Lyla's voiceover as she scrolls through social media, seeing Alex's post, "How could he do this to me?" The photo of Alex with another woman, his smile confident and warm, was enough to send Lyla into a frenzy. Her phone buzzed incessantly with messages from friends, questioning her about the rumors. Lyla calling Alex, "Alex, please, tell me it's not true. Are you really seeing someone else?" Alex calmly, "I didn't replace you, Lyla. You replaced us." Lyla sat at her desk, staring at the message from Alex, the finality of his words sinking deep into her heart. He was done with her. The facade of indifference that Alex had worn was no longer a shield, it was his final answer. But she didn't understand. She couldn't comprehend the depth of her loss until the moment she walked into the restaurant to meet him. The finality of it all hit Lyla the moment she sat in the lawyer's office, staring at the divorce papers in front of her. Her hands trembled as she ran her fingers over the ink, the weight of what she had done sinking in with each passing second. Alex had moved on. He had made his decision, and now, so would she. But it wasn't just the end of a relationship. It was the death of a dream. A dream she had clung to, convinced that it was something worth saving, that their love could withstand anything. The documents in front of her were the last reminder that her world had come crashing down. And as much as she wanted to scream, to fight, to somehow reverse the damage, there was nothing left to do. Lyla to her lawyer, voice breaking, "I thought we could fix it. I thought we could fix us." Lawyer sighing, "It's not just about fixing. It's about whether both parties want to try. And right now he's made his decision, and the divorce was finalized in a matter of days." Lyla signed the papers with tears in her eyes, her heart a mess of emotions. As she left the lawyer's office, she couldn't shake the feeling that everything she had known, everything she had been, was now gone. Meanwhile, Alex had already moved into a new chapter of his life. No longer burdened by the weight of a broken marriage, he began to thrive. He traveled, reconnected with old friends, and, most importantly, found peace. But his peace came at a cost, one that Lyla was only beginning to understand. The constant battle inside her mind, the guilt, the regret, was something she would have to live with forever. Alex, as he stands on a rooftop, looking out at the city, I thought I was running away, but I was really just finding myself. Lyla, on the other hand, struggled with the reality of being alone. At first, she tried to fill the void with meaningless distractions, work, friends, and short-lived relationships, but none of it brought her peace. Every time she woke up in the morning, she was faced with the empty space beside her in bed, the silence where Alex's presence once was. One night, months after the divorce, she sat in her car outside his apartment building, staring up at the lights in his window. The memories of their life together came flooding back, and for the first time since the separation, she allowed herself to feel the full weight of the loss. Lyla softly to herself, "I never wanted to lose you, Alex. I never wanted to hurt you." She sat there for a long time, the only sound the hum of the city around her. But Alex didn't hear her. He had moved on, just as he had promised himself he would. His new life was built on the foundation of boundaries, of knowing his worth, and never again allowing someone to make him feel small. The emotional wounds he had carried for so long were beginning to heal. The bitterness that had once consumed him was slowly replaced with acceptance. He was free. Free to make choices that were in line with his true self, free to grow, and free to love again. Rick over drinks, laughing, "I've never seen you this happy, man. You're actually living again." Alex grinning, "Yeah. It's like I've been holding my breath for years. And now, I can finally exhale." Lyla, however, continued to live in the shadow of the past. She couldn't erase the memory of their love, but she also couldn't escape the truth she had lost him, and that was something she would have to live with forever. Lyla voiceover, as she watches Alex's social media post with his new girlfriend, "Maybe I don't deserve him. Maybe I never did." Months passed, and life began to take on a new rhythm for both Lyla and Alex. The void between them, once a constant ache, was now something they both learned to live with. Alex had found peace in his new life, and Lyla, though still struggling, was slowly beginning to find hers. In a moment of clarity, Lyla realized that she couldn't keep looking backward. She couldn't keep holding on to the remnants of a relationship that had long since ended. It was time to heal, time to rebuild, time to rediscover who she was without Alex. She joined a therapy group, started taking up hobbies she had abandoned during the marriage, and eventually began to feel the stirrings of hope again. Lyla to her therapist, smiling slightly, "I don't know if I'll ever stop loving him, but I think I'm starting to understand that I have to let go." And Alex? He was living a life filled with purpose, joy, and a newfound sense of self. He had learned the painful lessons of the past, but instead of allowing them to define him, he used them as fuel for growth. Alex on a phone call with Rick, laughing, "I don't know, man. I feel like I'm in a place where I can finally breathe again." As for their love story, it remained a chapter in their lives, one that would never truly be erased, but one that no longer held the power to control them. In the end, both Lyla and Alex learned the most difficult lesson of all: love, like everything else, could be both beautiful and destructive. It was how they handled the aftermath, how they learned to heal and move forward, that ultimately defined who they became.